أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome again to another episode of My Journey to Islam. Alhamdulillah, today I have with me Brother Danyal. Brother Danyal, how are you doing? You okay?
Alhamdulillah, I'm okay. How are you?
All good, mashallah. How's everything?
Alhamdulillah, everything's fine.
Mashallah.
Good to meet you.
Alhamdulillah. Daniel, you're from quite a distance. Where are you from, just for the benefit of the viewers?
I've actually just travelled here today from the city of Bath, which is in the south next to the city of Bristol.
Mashallah. How's it going down there?
It's slow, but it's moving. Alhamdulillah, we're trying to get things going, try and improve things for everyone in the community.
Mashallah. And I understand you have some activities as well that you brothers are engaged in your actual area.
Yeah, we started just an Islamic organisation called IDEA. It stands for Islamic Development to Encourage Action. So we're just trying to kick things off and take the initiative and do something for akhirah.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Malakum barakallah, inshallah. Okay, what's your story then, Daniel? What brought you to Islam?
Well, I'm 25 years old now. When I came to Islam, I was 18. My whole life was, I spent my whole life in a Catholic school from primary to secondary, and even college. And it was actually college where it was the first time I met, it was mainly Asians and Africans and Muslims really, to be honest. But they weren't very practicing. So it wasn't that part of it that inspired me for anything. But just because I was friends with them, I just wanted to know more about, why was he called Muhammad or Abdullah, or what does it mean? So I just started reading a few books. And one book led to another book, which led to another book. And I found that I was agreeing with the books that I was reading. And even though I had no intention at all to be Muslim, it wasn't even in the front or back of my mind. But then I thought, well, if I'm starting to agree with the books, then this is what I'm interested in, this is what I'm after, this is what I've been looking for. And so I went to the masjid, spoke to a few people, some good brothers, cleared up a few issues as well, went away, thought about it for a bit, and in the end, alhamdulillah, I decided to take my shahada, mainly based on the book I read by Bilal Phillips on Kitab al-Tawheed, so the oneness of Allah, which that's always something that confused me in the past, especially in the strict Catholic school. It was always about just believe, whatever they throw at you, even if you got a question, don't ask, just believe it. Yeah, that didn't really quite work with me. So, and that kind of had a negative impact on me from their point of view, because that stopped me practicing Christianity and stopped me going to church. And because for me, it was I can't do anything that doesn't make sense to me, basically.
Yes, of course. Because naturally, you want to understand things as a human being.
Exactly, you have to, especially if it's your religion, your creed. It's the most important thing in your life. If you don't understand it, what are you doing with your life?
Definitely. Now, just to backtrack a little bit, you went to Catholic schools. So were you a Catholic or was you Protestant?
I was Catholic. My family was Catholic, but not really practicing. So I followed in their footsteps, if you like. My grandparents are quite strong Catholic. My parents are much less, and I was even less, really.
Okay. Just for the benefit of some viewers who may be watching this, who may not know too much about what Catholicism is about, if you just briefly explain, what are some of the main beliefs of Catholicism?
From what I can remember, I think the main thing was the Trinity, to be honest, which was the main thing that also confused me, that God is three. If you take one of them separately, that's also 100% God. If you put them all together, they're 100% God. It just never clicked in my mind. And it was actually the same for quite a lot of my colleagues, in school as well. For me, being Christian, being Catholic, was just going to church on Sunday, on Easter, at Christmas, and even that towards the end of my life, end of my non-Muslim life, just faded out. So in the end, I wasn't even doing that. So it didn't really have any meaning to me, to be honest.
I see. So what was the appealing factor with Islam, because you mentioned something about you read Bilal Phillips' book. What was the thing that, made you think, oh, you know what, this is interesting, or, you know, this is for me?
Yeah.
What was that thing?
To be honest, it was the fact that all of a sudden I read a book that actually just made sense. There was no complications, there's nothing that was made up, it's just straight, clear, and just easy to understand. You know, Allah is one, the Creator is one. Why would there be any more than one Creator? Why would He divide Himself into three? Or so as soon as I read that book, that was like the clicking point for me that kind of convinced me.
Excellent. Now, interesting you said that God is one, Allah is one. Why would He divide Himself into three? Some Christians may actually argue and say that no, they are monotheistic in their belief, that they believe in one God. So what was it for you that you didn't feel that was so?
It's not monotheistic at all. I mean, it is three gods. I mean, from what I was taught all throughout school, it was three gods. At the same time, they are one God, but logically, it just doesn't make sense. It just does not make sense at all. It didn't to me anyway.
Three becomes one. And
exactly, and even two on their own is the same as 100%, or you know, just didn't go well with me.
And when you was a child growing up, was it God you used to worship, or was it Jesus, or what was?
It was lots of things, to be honest. I mean, you could pray to anyone you like, pretty much. You know, different saints. There's hundreds of saints, and God Himself. There's Jesus, of course. For Catholics, was the main go-to worship thing, if you know what I mean. It's all about intercession. It's all about even the confession is through a priest, and it never appealed to me at all.
Okay.
It never appealed to me at all.
You know, for the benefit of some viewers who may be thinking, well, what's so special about Islam then? How would you explain to some of these viewers, you know, in terms of things of intermediaries, intercessions, and basically calling upon anything or everything other than God Almighty? How is that different to Islam?
Well, subhanAllah, Islam is amazing because there are no different levels. It's just you and your relationship with Allah, with your Creator. And that's it, straightforward. There's no bends, there are no distractions, there's no intermediaries. It's just you talking to your Creator, whether it's forgiveness or thanking or just general worship. So that's definitely the unique thing about Islam. Definitely, it has to be, and of course the best and the most important, that Allah is one.
Inshallah. And what about the concept of Jesus then? If you want to just highlight for the benefit of some of the viewers the Islamic perspective of Jesus, and also you can even put it to contrast to how it was when you're growing up as a Catholic.
When I was growing up, of course, Jesus was the person or the God that we used to be told to worship or to ask, or for anything really. But in Islam, subhanAllah, we love Jesus much more than anyone else, of course. I mean, you know, he's one of the best prophets, and he's mentioned in the Quran, and his life story and everything is just, we take the proper example. It's not a book that's been changed over hundreds of years. It's the Quran is the Quran. We know whatever's in the Quran is the truth, and we worship like Jesus. We don't worship Jesus. You know, I think that's one of the things I learned.
Excellent. And yes, because we actually take him as a prophet, and that's quite different from how the Catholics perceive Jesus. Could you possibly highlight maybe some of the practices or teachings of Jesus and how it was similar to Islam, just for the benefit of some of the viewers?
Well, as far as I'm aware, Jesus never actually said, worship me. It was always, worship your Lord, worship your God. That's obviously no different in Islam. That's how it is even today. I wasn't too big on what Jesus did from the Catholic point of view, so I'm probably not the right person to ask too much about that. I was never interested because it never made sense to me. But now, subhanAllah, you feel like, you know, you worship Allah you can love Jesus, you can love the prophets, and that's part of the worship as well. And you worship the way they worshipped, which is, of course, so important.
MashaAllah. Now, when you became a Muslim, how did your family take you?
I actually didn't tell my family for a couple of weeks. They found out from someone else.
Okay.
It was okay, alhamdulillah, it was okay. Because they weren't very practicing in any religion, and religion generally is not a big issue in any way, unfortunately. But because of that, they weren't too fussed. They were more worried because it's Islam.
Because of some stereotypical
because of the
views
media and all this kind of stuff. And not only that, but when I became Muslim, I think after about 6 months, I just went to Saudi Arabia, I went to the Gulf, I went for Umrah, and I stayed there for about 3 or 4 months. So especially my mother was kind of, what's going on?
That's quite a big change then, straight after becoming Muslim, and within 3 months you made Umrah, which, for the benefit of the viewers who may not know what Umrah is, it's actually a small pilgrimage that the Muslims partake in. How did you feel when you actually participated in this small pilgrimage called Umrah? It
was amazing. It was amazing. Just being in the place, in Mecca, in the Haram, next to the Kaaba. You read so much about it. Even as a non-Muslim, you learn about it in school. So to actually be there with all the Muslims around you, doesn't matter if they're rich or poor, black, white, Asian, doesn't matter. Everyone's your brother and everyone's your sister. It's just an amazing place. It really is amazing.
And did you see only one type of people there, meaning that one skin color or one nation people, or how was it when you were?
It was a properly pick and mix. It was everything. Everyone you could ever imagine was there, which was such a great thing.
MashaAllah. So you would say Islam's for everyone?
Definitely, no doubt, no doubt.
MashaAllah. Now, before you actually start looking into Islam, did you have any ideas about Islam, or did you have any stereotypical views perhaps even about Islam before you even became
The only thing I knew about Islam was the 5 pillars. That's it, just because I learnt them in school for my GCSEs. And so I didn't really have negative perceptions, but I didn't have anything positive either. I used to laugh sometimes, people with beards. I used to laugh at that. I remember one time I used to walk through the centre of town in Bath, and there was this guy I saw with a beard, and he had a dawah stall, and I just kind of laughed to myself, and it was a waste of time, what's he doing? And then subhanAllah, within a year, I was the one running that stall. So, and that guy became one of my best friends. And so the way things change is amazing.
Of course, that is quite amazing, mashallah. Now, when you actually became Muslim, did you have any support at all?
I mean, from that time that I actually went to the masjid the first time, there was a lot of support. Not necessarily from the masjid as an organization, but just the people who were in there, who were there generally. A lot of the students who were there, they gave great support. And even to this day, they're all my best friends, most of them. And I've visited them in all their different countries. So yeah, the support was great. It was really good.
Now, some people, there might be some viewers actually watching this right now, and they may have taken the step and have become Muslims, and they may be finding it difficult. And what words of advice would you give them in terms of making things easy for them in terms of practicing Islam? What kind of tips or advice would you actually give them?
Personally, from my personal experience, my advice was just be strong. I mean, just be. If there's something that you want to do, just do it. Even if it's you need to pray 5 times a day. There's no left or right with that. You can't not do it. So if you're embarrassed, you shouldn't be. But if you're embarrassed, just go for it. Just do your 5 prayers, and you'll get used to that. At work, just say, look, to your manager, I go do 5 prayers. You can give me a room. If you don't give me a room, I can just do my desk. That's okay. It's not a problem. Just be confident and be strong. Just know you're on the right path. So everyone else is wrong. You're the right one.
MashaAllah. And what about in terms of receiving support?
In terms of
receiving support, so they may not know where to go to, and they may not know who to turn to.
I mean, obviously, depends where you're from, where you live at the moment in the UK. But subhanAllah, these days there are so many organisations that are out there waiting to be contacted to give you the support. I mean, Green Lane Masjid is one of them. SubhanAllah, you've done such good work. Even though far, 2 hours away. We tend to come to Green Lane for many different things, and I've always noticed that the new Muslim support is probably one of the best I've seen in the UK. So if anyone's close to Birmingham, just come on down.
Just pop by.
Yeah, definitely.
Just pop by, inshallah.
At least make sure you get someone's number or get in contact with someone, even through the website. I'm sure you got lots of.
Yes, definitely. It's just a simple email, really.
Yeah.
You just drop a simple email, and then we just take it from there. We do actually have brothers and sisters on board for that, mashallah. Okay, just probably last 1 or 2 questions maybe. There may be some viewers actually watching this, they're not Muslims, and there may be 50-50 actually considering Islam, probably researching and reading and learning about Islam, but they're not quite there yet. They perhaps, they're probably need a little push. What advice would you give to them?
I just say, just jump into it, just straight into it. Just if you're like 90, 95, just go for it, and be a Muslim for a week or 2 weeks, and you won't want to leave. Just do that. Just go for it, and come to the masjid and meet the brothers or the sisters, if you're a sister, and just join in with the community and the worship and see what it's like. And that 5%, that's it. Once you do that you'll be 100%, inshallah.
Mashallah. Okay. Jazakallah khair for actually coming down today all the way from Bath, mashallah. Alhamdulillah, Daniel, it's been a pleasure having you today, alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair. Now, for the viewers, Jazakallah khair for actually watching. If there is anyone out there who is actually interested in Islam, or even a person who may want to become a Muslim, then please feel free to get in touch with myself, Mizan, at Green Lane Masjid. You can contact me via email at info@greenlanemasjid.org. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.